We live in a world that treats death like an uninvited guest, a silent shadow lurking in the corner of the room that we refuse to acknowledge. We busy ourselves, drown in distractions, and convince ourselves that tomorrow will always be there, like the sun rising in the east. But there comes a moment when the shadow steps forward. It could be in the stillness of the night, in the hospital room of someone you love, or in the seconds after a near miss that could have ended everything. In that moment, the abstract idea of mortality becomes personal, and once you've met it, there's no going back. You've crossed a threshold, and you'll never see life the same way again. The shadow of mortality is not just a reminder that life ends. It's a spiritual teacher that strips away illusions and reveals the raw truth about how we're living right now. Many avoid it out of fear, but the mystics and sages have always taught that looking directly into the eyes of death is essential if you want to wake up. Not in a morbid way, not with despair, but with a kind of reverence. When you welcome this shadow into your awareness, it begins to sharpen your perception. You start noticing how much of life is wasted on the insignificant, how much time is traded for things that do not matter, and how often love is left unspoken until it's too late. Today, we're going to explore what it means to truly meet the shadow of mortality, not as a dark omen, but as a guiding presence that points us toward a richer, more conscious existence. Your first true meeting with mortality often comes disguised as loss. Maybe you stand beside the bed of someone taking their final breath. Maybe you hear the words from a doctor that slice through your sense of invincibility. Or maybe you're alone in your car when a single moment, an oncoming vehicle, a patch of ice, a second too late, reminds you that your body is fragile and life is temporary. When this happens, there is an initial recoil. The mind rejects the truth like a body rejecting a foreign object. You might feel anger, denial, or even numbness. But beneath that, something deeper takes root. A silent knowing that you can't unlearn. Suddenly, the endless stretch of later collapses. The calendar pages in your mind start to feel numbered, and the future changes from something infinite to something precious and limited. This shift can be terrifying, but it can also be clarifying. When the shadow of mortality is standing before you, it becomes a mirror that reflects your life without distortion. It doesn't flatter you or condemn you. It simply shows you what's real. It asks hard questions. Are you living in alignment with your soul, or are you still performing for the world? How much of your time is spent chasing what won't matter when your final moment comes? Are you postponing the life you really want, imagining there will be a right time later? In that mirror, you see all the ways you've been waiting to live. You see how often you've traded authenticity for comfort, or truth for acceptance. Mortality's reflection is unfiltered. It won't lie to you. And the moment you see it clearly, it becomes impossible to keep pretending that you have forever. One of mortality's most liberating effects is its ability to dissolve what is trivial. The arguments you've been holding on to for years, they suddenly seem weightless. The grudges you've nurtured, they no longer feel worth the energy. The social games, the status chasing, the shallow noise, all of it begins to look absurd against the backdrop of impermanence. When you truly face the fact that you have a finite number of breaths, you stop wasting them. The conversations you've avoided become urgent. The dreams you've shelved for someday feel like they can't wait. You begin to notice how much of your life is background static and how much of it is music worth playing. This is where many people find that their priorities shift overnight. The fear of death has been treated as an enemy in modern culture, but in the spiritual traditions of old, it was seen as an initiation. To confront mortality is to step into a sacred fire that burns away illusions. That fear is not simply about the end. It's about the loss of control, the surrender of identity, and the dissolution of everything familiar. If you sit with it long enough, if you stop running from it, you start to see something unexpected. The fear itself begins to transform. Instead of paralyzing you, it sharpens you. It teaches you to be present, because presence is the only space in which death cannot touch you. Every moment you fully inhabit is a moment you've lived completely. Paradoxically, meeting the shadow of mortality can lead you straight into the arms of the infinite. By fully acknowledging that your body will one day be gone, you open the possibility of realizing you are not only the body. You are the witness, the consciousness behind the eyes, the awareness behind the thoughts. In that realization, death loses some of its teeth. It's still a transition, but not annihilation. The shadow you once feared becomes a doorway to a deeper understanding that consciousness itself is untouched by time, and your true essence is not bound to the ticking clock. Once you've met mortality, you can't banish it, but you can choose to walk with it differently. Instead of pushing it into the background, you can let it stand beside you as a reminder. Every sunrise, every laugh, every hug, every tear, it all becomes more vivid because you know it won't last forever. And this is the secret. The presence of death is not meant to make you live in fear. It's meant to make you live fully, to speak your truth without delay, to give love without calculation, to be here, now, without waiting for some imagined perfect moment. Meeting the shadow of mortality is not about dwelling on endings. It's about learning to live without illusions. It's about embracing life with both hands, knowing that every single moment is irreplaceable. Death will come for us all, but when it does, will you meet it with regret or with the peace of someone who lived awake? Because when you face death directly, you're no longer trapped by the fear of losing life. You're freed to truly live it. If this message resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs the reminder. And if you'd like to help me continue making content that speaks to the heart of the human experience, you can support my work through Buy Me a Coffee. Your support keeps this channel alive and helps these messages reach more people. The link is in the description below. Thank you for watching. Until next time.